Hello and welcome to this special Remembrance Day edition of Places for the Past. This is take 2 because my camera has started filming in slow motion, so I've been at this for about an hour and none of it is going to be any good because I don't know what I'm doing. I am an idiot. We are in Manchester's Southern Cemetery, the biggest municipal cemetery in Europe. And this episode is just going to be looking at some of the war graves in this place. So if you don't like war graves, I'm sorry. If you do, then stay tuned. The centrepiece is the Cross of Sacrifice, and behind the Cross of Sacrifice there is a wall with names on it. And as usual in these places, there's lots of names. Let's have a wee look along this this wall of names. Lots and lots and lots of names. The water graves here are arranged in little groups. There's a group here and there's a group over there that has got 2 in it, but it's still very much a group. And there's a line there beside the Cross of Sacrifice, and behind that there's another group. And I know that because, as I said, I've done all this already and I'm having to do it all again. So yeah, this is new for you. It's not new for me. Oh, I wonder if there's some link between these graves over here. What could it possibly be? How quickly you can pick up the link. There is Gunner Williams, Australian Field Artillery. Private McLeod, Australian Infantry. Lance Corporal Mannix, Australian Infantry. That is H.G. Flanaman, who is Australian Field Artillery. Private Lowe, Australian Infantry. Private Merwin, Australian Army Medical Corps. L.W. Outram, Lance Sergeant Outram of the Australian Infantry. Private William, of the Australian Infantry. Private Gibson of the Australian Infantry. Private Han, guess what? Australian Infantry. Private Dawson of the Australian Infantry, guess what? That is Private Ferguson, Australian Infantry. Have you seen the link yet? Private Tergurtha, I'm guessing that must be a sort of indigenous name, that's the word I was looking for. Australian Infantry. And Corporal Sullivan of the Australian Infantry. There, did you see the connection between all of those guys? Oh look, there's a tombstone over there. I wonder if that is anybody of note. Sound as surprised as I was about an hour ago when I first found this. This is the nurse, a nurse Hilda F.L.A. Peer, VAD. Now VAD I think was Volunteer Aid Detachment from 13th of March 1917. British Red Cross Order of St John. So this is all Australians. And if we head over here, there's another little group. Can you guess which country this is from? Hands up who said New Zealand. That is Trooper Herbert of the New Zealand Mounted Rifles from 1915 and Private Ibbotson of the New Zealand Medical Corps from November 1915. So yeah, this is the New Zealand corner. Down there is the Australian corner and one random nurse. Away from all his comrades, there's one guy out here too. And as you can see from the logo, which I can see and you probably can't, and I know it because, as I said before, I was here not long ago. These guys would all be laughing if they could see what I've done. They'd all be like, can't even work his camera. This is W.C. Walsh, leading seaman W.C. Walsh of the Royal Navy. 1st November 1944, aged 24. I have no idea how I got this camera filming in slow motion. Couldn't do it again if I tried. We've had Australia and we've had New Zealand. Can you guess who's up next? Give you a clue, it is J. Reynolds MM of the Royal Canadian Regiment, Private Morrison's Canadian Forestry Corps, Private Hicks, Canadian Mounted Rifles, that is Private Woods of Princess Patricia's CLI, that's Canadian Light Infantry. The first time I went to Ypres, I tried to find their memorial. It was not in a good state. Fortunately, it's in a much better state now. Sapper Boyce of the Canadian Engineers, Private B. Wallachan of the Canadian Mounted Rifles. I was there because a car stopped behind me and I thought I would be in trouble. That is Private Belland of the Canadian Infantry. That is Sapper James M. Wright of the Canadian... Oh wow, look at that! The Canadian Light Railway Operating Company. You forget about trains at the front line in the First World War. Right. And next to that we've got Private McLean of the Canadian Mounted Rifles. Pioneer G.H. Hill of the Canadian Pioneers, unsurprisingly. Private Campbell of the Canadian Army Medical Corps. Private Thompson of the 1st Canadian Mounted Rifles. Private Corbett of the Canadian Infantry again. And then another Mounted Rifles gentleman, Private Williams. Row 2, hope you're paying attention, there'll be a test at the end. Private Leonard Ross Smith of the Canadian Infantry, 50th Battalion. Private Irvin of the Canadian Infantry, the 2nd Battalion. And then Private Trendle of the Canadian Infantry, Private Scott, Canadian Infantry, Private Steer, Canadian Army Service Corps, Private Loveland, the Canadian Machine Gun Corps, and then there is a bit of a gap for reasons that I have no idea. Gunner Thomas Leon Goldie, Canadian Field Artillery. Private McGill, Canadian Infantry. Has anybody ever had to say Canadian more often in one video? Gunner Brown of the Canadian Field Artillery. Private Reginald Vassie Harris, Canadian Infantry. And Private Alsop, again Canadian Infantry. There, that's all the Canadians, unless this stone that I've just noticed is in any way Canadian. Let's have a wee. Oh no, it's not judging by the badge anyway. This is Private K, local boy, Manchester Regiment, 1916, age 22. And I'll say I've just noticed, but I actually just noticed when I did all this for the first time, there's a stone with his back to us. I wonder who that could possibly be. Let's have a wee look. It is Lieutenant J. William Montgomery, 46th Battalion Canadian Infantry, aged 26. Now I'm wondering, he's an officer, and I wonder if he is there and all the Canadian troops are lined up behind him, or if that is just coinciding. And in front of all the Canadian gentlemen, we have got the Reverend S. Morrison, Chaplain to the Forces, 4th class. Not a very high class chaplain to the forces. Died in 1920. And it says down the bottom there, he was the minister of Whalley Range Presbyterian Church. No idea. Whalley, I think, is obviously nearby, but I'm not entirely sure where. With that all done for the second time, let's head off to another interesting memorial in this graveyard. Well, there's a couple of plaques commemorating people that are buried elsewhere in this graveyard. We've met John Pettyjohns VC, the man with the buttock. And commemorates Henry Kelly VC MC and Bar. No idea who that was. Died in 1960 though. And for this Remembrance Day special, you know how we saw the cross of sacrifice over beside the wall of remembrance? Well, look what's in front of us. Could that possibly be another cross of sacrifice? I know the answer. You can probably guess. It wouldn't be much of a Remembrance Day episode if I said, is it a cross of sacrifice? Actually, no, it's not. You could spend, well, not quite forever, but certainly quite a long time walking around here reading tombstones. It's an amazing graveyard. I say this was the largest municipal cemetery in Europe. It's not. It's the second largest municipal cemetery in Europe, which begs the question, where is the largest and when am I going to go and see it? But it is the largest in the UK. It was opened in 1879, by the way, in its present form, but I'm sure we've seen gravestones that go back before that. Can you remember? Oh, there's a you-know-what over there. Hello, Walter B. Davidson, husband of Catherine Jane Davidson, 1938, which you could tell from the shape of that stone. These will all be 1930s, 1940s, and they're all disappearing into the ground. But the reason that we've taken this little detour is over there. It is Gunner Hill of the Royal Artillery, who died in 7th of March 1941. His smile is always with us. And, oh, there we go, that must be his father, possibly, in loving memory of William James Hill, who died in 1937, aged 72. Would that be his father? You guys can do the maths. Well, arithmetic actually, but yeah, you know what I mean. Told you it was a cross of remembrance. I can't honestly remember what this little garden bit over here is for. I have been here before the day I got chased, but I got chased by a guy who works in the lodge. You're not allowed to film in a graveyard, blah blah blah. I think I've whined about that enough already. I'll shut up about it now and get over it and just ignore him and do my filming anyway. So this is the little walled garden of remembrance. Is this for civilians that died in the war? Hang on, how about I find out and I tell you? That'll make it a bit more sense, wouldn't it? The first little panel here is from 1939 to 45, and it's members of the Polish Army. You've seen our videos from up north. Leven and Fife was the home base for a lot of these troops if they were paratroops. So there's some troops of the Polish Army, all Second World War. And next round from then, it says the sailors and soldiers and airmen honoured here died in the service of the country and rest in the burial grounds shown. So this is just like a collection that's been brought in. I don't know if these burial grounds or graveyards still have headstones and stuff, and that's why these guys are memorialised here, or if it's just to give them an extra focus for remembrance. Manchester General Cemetery, never heard of it. Cheetham Hill Methodist Cemetery, St Barnabas Churchyard, Openshaw. Oh, I might go and look for some of these actually. All Saints Church Cemetery, Newton Heath. Somebody told me about All Saints Church. I wonder if it was that one. St Thomas Churchyard Extension, Eccleston, Brunswick United Methodist Cemetery, Bury, and Edgeworth Congregational Chapel Yard. Now I wonder, did one of you guys mention that to me recently? All Saints Church. I've got a memory like what's it called? You know, what's it called? You know that thing that's got lots of, yeah, that's it, I was joking. Right, I'm going to find out where the Manchester General Cemetery was as well. Might be called something else. Now, So behind the cross of sacrifice there, the sword pointing downwards to symbolise that the fighting is done. Yeah, if only that were true. It says, here are recorded the names of 218 members of His Majesty's forces who died in the service of their country 39 to 45. Ah, now there's something you don't see. Cremated. 166 were cremated and 52 lie buried here. And it says, those named in panels 1 to 5 and 25 to 29 lie buried here. The rest of them were all cremated. I keep getting things out the corner of my eye. There's a squirrel going up that tree. Stop distracting me, you little furry fluff bag. And this is the last panel over here. I'm guessing it's the same setup as that one over there, because it's exactly the same shape and facing it. And it is, let's have a look. The soldiers died in the service of the country and rest in the burial grounds shown. It's the same thing. It's Buckley St Peter's, Cheetham Hill St Luke Churchyard, Swinton Unitarian, Manchester Crematorium, Denda, and Hay or Lees St John the Baptist. CHYD? I don't know what CHYD is. Extension. Churchyard. CHYD Churchyard. Duh. And behind them, in front, oh, I've said that and then turned the corner. We're heading over, there's a couple of graves to my left, war graves. I didn't think these two were here. Private Anthony David Greenwood, the Parachute Regiment, 1982. Okay, that's aged 22. And Fusilier Michael John Bernard Case, Royal Regiment of Fusiliers, 1999. I wonder which conflicts those were from. 1982, would that have been the Falklands War? I'm showing a complete, I should know that and I can't remember. Yeah, obviously 1982 is the Falklands War. So there are two more over here. Let's see what they are. They are, oh right, back to World War time. There is Sergeant Heron of the Royal Australian Air Force, 1942, and Sergeant Evel of the Royal Canadian Air Force, 1941. Right, we're going to head back now towards where I parked. I hope you've enjoyed this little remembrance episode, a little wander round, and lots of names and lots of thought. Oh, I said that. Sorry, it's not actually the end, because on the back of the those memorials that we saw that have already got quite a lot of names on them, there are more names. St Barnabas Churchyard has got Gunnar Fishwick and Gunnar Knowles. Let's see if that's the same over there. Gunnar Fishwick, Gunnar Knowles of St Barnabas. No, that's interesting. There's St Barnabas Churchyard Openshaw, Gunnar Fishwick and Gunnar Knowles, and if you come around the other side, you get St Barnabas Churchyard other ones. So I wonder why Gunnar Fishwick and Gunnar Knowles are not with their colleagues in St Barnabas. Well, not on the inscription anyway, you know what I mean. I don't know. Were they not known at the time and then added later to the back of this? I have no idea. Interesting point. Anyway, definitely done now. I see you hiding out in amongst all these dark stones. I see you. You can't hide from me. We are expert graveyard wanderer abouters. You can't hide Lance Corporal S.R. Watson of the Royal Engineers, 1940, age 36. So this is Second World War. And behind is what we've got there. We've got 1910, a little lamb safely folded. Richard Shepherd Butterfield next door is 1910, and oh, he's 1914. Elizabeth is 1910. I do hope you've enjoyed this wee episode. If you have, please like and subscribe and all that gubbins, and we'll see you soon for more graveyard action. I said that and then saw what we're standing right in front of, so let's go and say hello to a low angle, because I've just realised this new camera lets me do that. That is leading aircraftsman H.W. Boys, Royal Air Force, 25th of December, Christmas Day, 1941.